ask questions like, what does this mean?
Start, go.
St. Patrick's.
You did it. None of those are actually correct. Start and go is close. But basically what this means is the track is open for high-speed use. Okay? In other words, the track is hot, the track is active. It does happen to coincide with when they start a race, because up until that point the track is cold, meaning that there couldn't be a car out there going at speed. But everybody who's a fan thinks this means the race is on.
Mm-hmm.
What it really means at the racetrack to the officials and the workers and to the drivers is that the track is open for high-speed use and that it's hot. Okay? And that's important only because when I tell you what the checkered flag means, anybody gonna guess?
Get off of the track.
Yeah, kind of means get off the track. But what's the opposite of,
Closed.
Otherwise you can't enter the track.
now high-speed session of the track is over. All right, the time has come to an end, the session's over, the track has gone cold, however you want to phrase it. It also happens to coincide with the end of the race, because that's when the high-speed session of the track ends. But basically that's what the checkered flag means. Okay, it's not that you've won or that you won driving school or that you should put your brain in neutral and not think anymore, which we see a lot too. This flag comes out, people just go down into one and sail right off the end of the track because they kind of, whatever they do, they take a sigh of relief or whatever, and they quit thinking about what their immediate job is. All right, so some fun ones. Again, not to frustrate you, but what does this one mean?
That's the one that prompted the conversation. We didn't
So
know.
he's not going to answer it. Anybody else? No? Nobody's seen this, watching NASCAR races or sports car races?
We just saw it at the sports car race
The
at,
pass?
Road America.
That is the answer that we usually hear, is that it is the passing flag.
Like point it
Yeah.
at you and then wave it, or just
Slow down because someone faster class car is coming through, right?
And no.
No?
So
stupid?
what this means, this is an informational flag, okay? It's not a command flag, meaning I show you this, you don't have to do anything, all right? It'd be nice if you'd acknowledge, like give a hand up on your steering wheel or something, just so that they know that you saw it. But I've gotten this plenty of times after battling the guy for half the race and get around him, and then they show this flag to me right after I get around him. And I'm like, you obviously don't know what I just went through to pass that person. So what this means is that they, in their opinion, there is a faster car approaching. Okay? That's all they're telling you. That's all that they're telling you, is that there's faster traffic approaching. Now, that could be that you just passed that car and they see how close the car is you just passed, and they weren't really paying attention previously to if you were ahead or behind that car, and so they think that car's catching you, so they show you this. There's been other times though when people are kind of smarty and they're like, well, that's not a command flag, I don't have to do anything, and they just kind of ignore it. That it basically means check your mirror. If you think about it, anything that ends with behind you would indicate you need to look in the rearview mirror, right? Well, the person's car was on fire, and when they showed them this flag, and she looked in the rearview mirror, she saw the smoke from behind her and realized, oh, I got a problem. So basically, when you get this, it's just information to look behind you. It is polite that if you have, especially at a track day, somebody just dogging you, let them go by, because you're probably going to learn something from them that they're doing that you're not doing. You may be faster than them in some corner, but for whatever reason, they're faster than you somewhere else. So just go ahead and follow them and see if you can figure it out. This one, Johnny, I know went over. Black flag. This one can be used a couple different ways. If it's used like this, and it's standing at every corner worker station and at the start-finish line, it basically is the replacement for the red flag. It basically means everybody to pit lane, okay? If it's what they call furled, if it's up like this and they do something like that at you, that means you did something and we saw it, and we're not going to ruin your race right now, but if you do it again, we will. And so that means warning.
I got that in go-karting from time to time.
Okay, so then if you see it like this, and then when, if you see it like that, or if you see it like this, and you're coming along behind him, and then I do this, and I pull it back down, that means he comes to pit lane, you don't, all right? So all that information you have to process. That's why racing is a thinking man's sport. You gotta go fast, and you gotta have a fast mind at the same time.
It's more fatiguing than people realize.
Oh yeah, sometimes sometimes after just practice or test day, you're as tired as if you'd run a race. Okay, so the red flag I mentioned, I'm going to pull it out just to show it to you, but basically people are moving away from this because it's very confusing. You wouldn't think so, but if you have been in all the different places that I've been in different situations, if this comes out, there's a little bit of a hesitancy on what do you do. If you just come to a complete stop, which unfortunately I was teaching one of my previous sponsors who later unfortunately passed away, he just stopped right in the middle of Road Atlanta under the bridge. And I was like, yeah, this is not a good thing to do. I mean, because if someone comes up the hill and they can't see us and we're right in the race path and we're stopped, guess what? They're going to run right in the back of us. So technically what they had to start doing is they had to say, well, if this comes out, it's really, really bad situation for some reason. We're not going to black flag all and have you all come to pit lane. We actually want you to stop somewhere on the racetrack. But when you stop, check your mirror, pull off the racing line, and safely come to a stop as soon as you can, out of the way, in case somebody else doesn't see it and doesn't run right in the back of you. Because of all of that, they went to the black flag all, because it's just easier. All right, this now would only come out in my expectation if there was like, hey, you know, somebody might be in enough trouble that they aren't going to make it, and you know, we can't waste time waiting for cars to get to pit lane, something like that. So it's pretty serious and kind of scary situation.
See, I always thought that was like the rain delay flag, basically, you know.
That is ground track. We don't have rain delays. We have go change your tires. Okay, so this flag, another informational flag, okay? Probably, in my opinion, more important than the flag, the blue flag with the stripe, because I probably know the blue flag with the stripe already, unless my car's on fire. I know my competitors that I've either just passed or are hunting me down, and you know, it's great that the race officials are trying to help me out, but I pretty much know that information. This informational flag is something I couldn't possibly know. This is slippery condition, basically, okay? From any reason. Ice, rain, oil, antifreeze, gravel, whatever it is, there's a slippery condition, and it means it's in the grip area that you're expecting to have grip. It's in the racing line, okay? And if you see this, what they'll do is they'll leave it out for 3 laps. And by then, there's 2 reasons for that. One is you should have seen it in 3 laps. So they don't want to be, you know, holding it out for the whole race. Number 2 is, most of the time, if it's not something like oil or something that's perpetual, it's going to dry up. If it's water, it'll be gone. If it's gravel, somebody will kick it off the track. If it's dust or whatever, it could change. So they don't want to leave it out there because now the surface should be better. Number 2 is, what if later in the race something else happens? Then how do they tell you, well, now we meet it again? So the way they do all that is after 3 laps, they pull it down. And then it's up to you to remember, hey, this is the turn that had something. If it still has something, don't get mad at them because the flag's not out, because they needed to pull it down after 3 laps in order to pull it back out in case something else comes in. But it's informational and means slippery condition. This one will get you as well. Come on.
One more lap?
Maybe. What else?
I surrendered.
All right, so in most cases, it is 1 more lap in professional racing. All right, even in like 24 Hours of Daytona and Le Mans and other places, they've gone to this as being the last lap. Okay, but in amateur racing, several places, this is still slow-moving vehicle on the track.
So that's where we would see it.
Probably like an SCCA club racing, NASA racing, you're going to see this. Okay, if you see it, it could be a debilitated race car. It could have a flat tire and the guy's limping it back to the pits. All right. It could be a wrecker that's pulling somebody out of a gravel track. It could be an ambulance or something else on the track that has come out in order to get to someplace else on the track. And all they're telling you is slow-moving vehicle. So that's an example of one of the ones at the beginning of this. I said it depended upon your sanctioning body. And I, of course, left the most confusing one for the end. All right? NASCAR, you know, waves blue or whatever for corner cautions when they do road courses. We just have the yellow flag, but we have basically multiple variations of the yellow flag. Okay, there is the, if I had 2 of these, double yellow, which if one was out that way and one was out this way, meaning the whole track is yellow. Usually you see that on the parade laps before the race starts. That's no passing, no racing, basically. track is open because the green flag has flown, but caution on the entire speedway means you're not to pass. There's no racing entry. If it is displayed like this, okay, at a corner worker station, that means that in the racing line or close proximity to it, there is something of caution, okay? Could be a part of a tire, could be a dead animal, that's actually happened to me, could be a race car spun out, whatever it is, there's something that's stationary. If you see it displayed like this, that basically is just telling you, hey, watch out, use caution, but it's not going to be a big surprise. Okay, you're going to see it off on the side somewhere.
And you can still be racing full speed, you know, just heads up?
No, we'll get to that in a second. Anytime you see this, it's not full speed. All right, then if you see it like this, right, and the level of how fast this is going and what the guy's expression is, probably means, especially if you're going over a rise, that there's a spun out car or something right where you're going to end up, okay? Because that's a waving yellow, okay?
So you don't miss it.
And you don't miss it. And then as far as your question goes on what about where racing resumes and when it goes on pause? So if the yellow's out, you cannot pass, depending on your sanctioning body, with two different little caveats. One is, if this is out and you come through the corner and there's the car or there's the incident and two guys are getting ready to have a fist fight because they got into each other, and right past them you can see that there's not a problem. That's considered the incident, and as soon as you're past the incident, racing resumes. Okay, so you've topped the hill, slow down, you see the incident, I'm right behind you and I'm wanting to pass you, and you're looking at them starting to have a fist fight, and as soon as we get past the incident, I go by on the other side, you go tell the race official that Wilson passed you under yellow, and the race official says no. He was clear of the incident, so therefore, you just got caught out, all right? But if Wilson passes you after the two guys that are starting to have a fist fight, and the rules actually say that when this is out, you can't pass until you see one of these, that means if there's a corner worker station here, and it has the yellow flag, this corner worker station has a green flag, then anything between here and there is no passing. And if I passed you, even if the incident is right here, and I pass you in here before I get to the green, then I'm at fault, because the rules were you couldn't pass until you had green. That's FIA rules, like they use in Formula One.
So they bring it back?
It depends. If it's a situation where they can, they would, but most of the time in road racing, that's not going to happen. They're just going to do it at the end of the race. They're just going to say you passed under yellow, and they'll penalize you one position or one lap or whatever they deem the situation is. But you could fix it. So like, if the green's here, and you realize, oh shoot, I wasn't allowed to pass it, and I fix it, and I get back behind you, and I let you go back by, or I point you by, and then I get in behind you, high probability that they will be like, okay, he saw what he did, he got it fixed before the flag, everything's fine. But
so guys just won't pass you. They're like, screw you, you're getting penalized.
Right.
I'm not passing you, I'm not
Correct.
throwing you down.
Right.
Guys do that, I assume.
The guys do that. Guys make up all kinds of stuff, but I mean, basically it comes down to the sanctioning body, and they'll tell you at the driver's meeting. And if you're not sure, ask.